This is my 2020 Toyota Tundra. It doesn't come with a transmission cooler, and I do a lot of towing, so I need to put one in there because I don't like my transmission. I don't like the temperature that it was showing on the dash. I have a scan gauge too that shows me the temperature of the transmission and the torque converter, and it was in the 220s and the 230s. I would prefer that be a lot colder. I'm going to be installing this Hayden 679 transmission cooler, the sending unit, the hard line, the plate to mount it on, and the transmission fluid world standard from Toyota. And if you're going to be working underneath the truck, you don't have to buy a mat. You don't have to get a cardboard box to lay down underneath your truck to work on it. Just go to where your wife saves all her gym equipment and she's going to have a yoga mat. Just, you know, borrow it. It'll take her 2 years before she realizes that it's gone. And by then, you know, you could be like, oh no, I didn't know, I thought it was mine, whatever. Free. I'm going to start off by taking off the grill so I can put the transmission cooler right around here. Going to start off by taking out these little plastic pins, and then I'm going to take off these screws. But before I do that, I need to disconnect this plug from this wire. This is the electrical for the sensor. It's all faded. Push right here, counter level, this will come up and you can just slide it out. When you're taking off the pins and you're taking off all the screws from the top of the grill, as you start to pull it back, there's going to be a pin here, a plastic pin that goes in here. You got to push that down. This one might just pop out by itself. On here you have to push this one down too, and pretty much when you get the top two pushed down, the whole grill will come loose, that these will just slide off easily. Then I'm going to be taking out this piece here. These are just little pop out pins. Remove those. Eventually I'm going to be tapping some holes in here to run the lines into the transmission cooler. This little shroud is out of the way. Now I'm going to move the horn out of the way because the bracket is going to tap into that hole there. So I disconnected this horn and I just want to see if this would work as it is just being connected here, and this is just loosely placed, right? If you see here, there's only one cable coming in, so this is the ground for it, so that way this completes the circuit. So that way this should work when I press the horn. This is disconnected, so this one's not going to be doing anything. And it works. So this contact is enough for the horn. I used a wire brush to clean this up a bit. This should make a better contact. I think that was something that was happening to me because it was working when I connected this, it was working, and then when I tightened the bolt, it stopped working, and then I loosened the bolt, it started working again. The electricity was flowing through the bolts and touching on the inside of this opening, and then when I tightened the bolt was centered and wasn't touching the inside of this. So now that I wire brushed this a bit, this should make a nice clean contact here, so that way the electricity could flow. I just tested it. This is nice and tight. I just tested the horn and it works, so I'm happy. I can reconnect this so that way both horns do their thing. Before I put the bracket onto the truck, I need to put the transmission cooler, line it up to the bracket, and put the bolts on through all the holes tighten them down, and then install the bracket. Now I have the transmission cooler connected to the plate, secured to the frame. So I pass the hard lines going this way. I have to twist and turn, and you see the pattern of the line. It goes around the oil pan. It goes around, comes up over here, and you'll see it over there. It hugs the bottom of the engine, and right over here you'll see a opening. That's where one of the connections is going to be. Once it's snug there, you'll see how nice and tight these hard lines are. I had to spin it a couple of times, and it snaked its way through. Over here towards the front of the engine, you'll see that the rubber part of the line goes towards the front of the car, the truck, excuse me. And then over here is the opening that you're going to put the bolt through, connecting this to it. Ooh, that's a tight fit. But I'm good at putting big things into tight spaces. Alright. I got this guy secured. The one back here is secured. Was not easy. This was fine, but this one there, oh my god, that was hard. You'll see that it connects to a little metal bracket that just hangs down, and there's like a nut welded to it. That's where it goes. It's meant just for this. Over here you'll see the line that touches that electrical wiring. That line has a rubber housing on the outside to insulate it, so that way it doesn't melt that plastic. Then the lines, you'll see it, they'll go up, and then up there is the transmission cooler. And then on this end back here is where it'll connect to the transmission. Over here. I'm going to take this off, and there's a spacer. I'm going to replace the spacer with a sending unit that goes sandwiched in between here. That spacer comes off. Use the same bolts. There's special lines that I have that will connect the sending unit to these hard lines. And once all that's done, then it's just drain and fill, and we should be good to go. So I ended up taking off the shield here. What do you call it? Whatever. I can't remember it now. Dagnabbit. Anyways, I was connecting the hoses here to the hard line and squeezing my hand through tiny little openings. It was a mission, but I was just being stubborn, and I didn't want to take off the guard here, so I decided to finally take it off, and it made my life so much easier to do it. That's what I get for being lazy. I had to go through missions because I didn't want to take off that guard. What the hell was that guard called? Rock guard? Rock shield? Dagnabbit. Skid plate. Putting the shroud back in, I'm gonna just eyeball where the line should go, so that way I can make a hole here and put a grommet, and then over here I'm gonna put a hole over here and put the grommet right here. That way the line is as straight as possible with minimal curves. Should make the flow go as smooth as possible. Use a little hole saw that I measured already to the grommet to make the holes here on the shroud. would have helped if I made this a little bit tighter. I hope so, because we're going to fit, but the next size one has way too big. So I put this guy and it was nice and snug. Everything's great. I started to pass the line and poop, it came right off. That was frustrating. Ah. This one is just too thin for the thickness of the shroud. So I gave up on this grommet. I have this kit and it has a bunch of other grommets, and this is going to fit much better. It's a lot thicker. Just slice it there. This is going to hold much better than this guy. Oh my god. Night and day. Night and day. You see, it's not even falling out. Well, this guy falls out easily. So I passed this line through. I'm going to now connect it with this constant pressure clamp to the hard line. When it connects over here, it doesn't matter if this line goes to the top or it goes to the bottom. As long as it's connected to here, it will cool. I connected the hose and the bottom to the hard line. Now I'm going to connect it here. Connecting it to the hard line was a mission. It's getting a little bit dark here, so I had headlights on and a bunch of flashlights going on so I could see what I'm doing. It was not easy. I used a little bit of transmission fluid to lubricate the hose so that way it will slide over the hard line. That helped, but getting the little fastener over in place was a mission, but I got it to work. So now that it's connected down here, down to the bottom at the hard line, and it's snaked through over here, I'm going to cut the line here and I'm going to connect it to the bottom of the transmission cooler. I'm going to measure it. Alright, so that's lubricated. Pass this guy over. Okay. All right. And that's snug, nice and tight. So now that I have the line connected to the hard lines, I have the hose connected to the hard lines, I'm going to size this one, then cut it and clamp it. Size it, cut it, insert the line, slide this guy over. Alright. So now this is connected to the hard lines. I still have yet to connect the hard line to the smaller hoses that connect to the sending unit. Alright, so here's the lines from the engine that warms up the transmission fluid, and right here is the spacer. We're going to be taking off these 3 bolts to remove the spacer, and then we're going to put in here the sending unit, the thermostat, that will provide the transmission fluid to the hard lines right there. Here comes the drift. Alright, here's the spacer, and it just came from there. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a washer here and a washer here. We're going to be removing those before we put the sending unit in here. That's one, and that's the other. Alright, so once I put the thermostat back on and I'm going to be putting these lines through, there's going to be a bracket right here next to the transmission. The line's going to come through here, this opening, and then connect to the hard lines down there. So you see here's the thermostat. Here's the block that goes in between this heater assembly unit that goes to the engine. Here's the lines going through the bracket to the hard lines. Now I just got to get these clamps and slide them in, and that's not going to be easy. Alright, the thermostat is put in place. This is nice and secured. You see here how the lines go through between these lines and the transmission. It comes on through, and then right there it connects right here to the hard lines. Alright, next up I'm going to be doing a drain and fill of the transmission fluid. Over here on the driver's side is the plug where you're going to be putting in the transmission fluid. We're going to be opening this up first. Next, we're going to open this plug and we're going to drain it all out. Then we're going to measure and add, I'm going to add 2 quarts in, and then I'll do the overflow afterwards. Once the transmission temperature gets to 104, I'm going to jump underneath the truck with the engine running, and I'm going to open up that overflow plug and let some of the transmission oil drain out. And once it gets to a trickle, I'll plug it back in. Alright, here we go. With one foot on the brake, make sure you toggle through the gears. so everything gets nice and lubricated up in there. Once this gets to a trickle, I'll go ahead and cap it off. One last thing, in the thermostat that we just installed, make sure to take out that pin. Alright, make sure to put the skid plate, I remembered, skid plate back on. Put this back on, make sure you connect the plug back so that way your TSS sensor works again. Put the push pins in, and then just ratchet down these screws. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Leave a comment. It's good for the algorithm. All right, take care.